Alright guys, here at the Myrtle Hill Cemetery in Rome, Georgia, and I'll be coming up to the grave of Ellen Louise Axson Wilson, wife of the 20th President of the United States. First Lady here. So a little bit about Ellen here as we look at the graves nearby. She was born May 15th, 1860 in Savannah, Georgia. Died in 1914 in D.C. and like I said, buried here. She was the presidential first lady and the daughter of a Presbyterian minister. She was the first wife of President Thomas Woodrow Wilson, who became the governor of New Jersey and later the 28th president of the United States. She received her primary education at the Sabbath School in Rome, here in Georgia, and her high school education was here at the Rome Female College, again also in Rome. She continued her education through self-study with a focus on art, and here we go. Sacred in the memory of Ellen Louise Axson, beloved wife of Woodrow Wilson, born May 15th, 1860 at Savannah, Georgia, died August 6, 1914 at Washington, D.C. A traveler between life and death, the reasons on firm, the temperate will, endurance, foresight, strength, and skill, a perfect woman, nobly planned to warn, to comfort, and to command, and yet a spirit still and a bright with something of an angel light. Back up here a little bit if I can. See the whole thing. It's a tall monument. It's about 6.5, 7 feet tall. So in November 1881, her mother died, and 2 years later her father suffered a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized with a mental institution and died the following year. In 1894, she applied and was accepted to the Art Students League in New York City, where she studied for a year. After meeting Woodrow Wilson at her father's church in 1883, they developed a romantic relationship and were married at her grandfather's home in Savannah, Georgia. On June 24th, 1885, that's when she was married. She then gave up her career ambition as an artist and oversaw her husband's political career and her children's primary education. When her husband was elected to the U.S. presidency in 1912, she assumed management of moving from Princeton, New Jersey to Washington, D.C., and they occupied the White House. During her first full 3 months as First Lady, she hosted over 40 White House events with an average guest list of over 500 people. She often found escape from her social obligations as the First Lady and made a lot of visits to the local public theaters, galleries, and museums. She expanded the third floor of the White House by putting 5 new bedrooms, which is now the President's quarters. But probably her most enduring contribution to the executive mansion, although very short-lived, was the creation of the Rose Garden, which was really a pretty amazing garden until the Trump White House came along and kind of butchered it. Sorry, get political here. She created a private art studio on the third floor of the White House where she continued to paint. She planned the White House wedding of her daughter Jessie in the East Room that occurred on November 25th, 1913, and her daughter Nell in the Blue Room a year later, in 1914. After discovering she was afflicted with a terminal kidney disease known as Bright's disease, she died at the age of 54, becoming the third presidential wife to die in the White House up to that time. So she is buried here next to her father, Reverend Edward Axson. Jane would be the wife, her mother. And Stockton, that would be a brother. Died in 1935. Who do we have here? Jane Stevens. Not sure who that is. I didn't bring my research very well. But there you go, guys. The grave of First Lady Ellen Louise Axson Wilson, wife of President Woodrow Wilson, here at the Myrtle Hill Cemetery in Rome, Georgia. One little quick walk around. I didn't see anything else on the other side of the stone. Nope, blank slate. It's kind of unusual not to have her name. I didn't see her name anywhere on it. I mean, other than right there, I guess. Very cool.